I mean, I honestly think my older self would have beat my younger self up.
Usually, I like to ask artists from the southern states like how it is in Canada, but I feel like you've already got the crowd here.
Yeah.
You've played the NHL Winter Classic.
Yeah.
You've been to many Predator games. I feel like you're part Canadian at this point.
I feel like it too. A lot of my bandmates are from here as well.
Okay.
One's from Oshawa, one's from Whitby. Yeah, man, I feel like when we first started coming here, they taught me everything I needed to know.
Amazing.
From a food scene to a beer scene to all hockey rules, all the things. And so, yeah, growing up in Georgia, I had no idea like what you did in Canada. But I've been here so many times now and played this festival in particular. This is my third time. So,
yep.
I love when Canadian towns pop up on our calendar.
Unreal. So. And you do always make a good point of, like, on your tours, stopping in Canada.
Always.
You've been in Toronto a bunch of times,
yeah.
Montreal. So have you made the switch to Canadian beer yet, though? You mentioned it. Have you made the full switch?
I mean, not really. I actually don't drink much beer lately, but when I'm up here, I'll definitely crush a little, like a Labatt, or a Canadian Molson or something like that. But yeah, I'm more of a tequila guy lately. So
okay, you know, keep the bloat away.
That's right. Keep the bloat. That's right.
So a lot of your writing, you've written tons of songs with your dad.
Yeah.
And my dad works in construction, but he would fire me the first day.
Right.
How does that relationship work?
Man, I think me and Dad talked about it a bunch early on. This would have been 12 years ago of just like, do we write together? Because what if we don't agree? And
right.
I feel like my dad is just such a pro. I mean, I learned just about everything I know in this business period from him. He did it for so long, and obviously has been a top tier songwriter in our town for more than 20 years. And
right.
So I didn't speak much, in the beginning because he's the pro. But I think one of my favorite things he did with me was even when my sound kind of started to shift from what his was, he was always the first one to allow me to chase it,
right.
And so my dad is arguably kind of, my biggest mentor in this business and still my favorite co-writer. So
I love that. That's
very rare.
That's very awesome too,
yeah.
though. That's a good experience. So you started writing songs you were a songwriter in Nashville, and then obviously you wrote songs with your dad. Morgan Wallen said that when he wrote Chasing You, it was like it clicked, like something's different about this song. Do you have a song that you remember when you wrote it or when you recorded it was like, this one's different?
Yeah, I mean, I would go back even to my first record, I think. There was a song I put out, it was my third single on radio called Make Me Wanna. It was the first moment that I really felt like I'd found my voice and kind of found my sound.
Yep.
I think previous singles, they worked, but it was a lot of just trying to get my name on the map.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I feel like you kind of have to get your name on the map, or at least that's how it was in 2010. It's a lot different in 2024. But I feel like Make Me Wanna at first was received kind of strange, like, what is this?
Right.
But as it started to work on radio and people started to know it, it kind of became like, oh, that's Thomas Rhett music. You know what I mean? And so I kind of leaned into that harder through all my records of just like, man, like, I don't have to be what people want me to be. I can actually kind of be an artist and do what I want to do. And so I think that was the first bit of kind of affirmation of me just being like, okay, I think I found my lane. I think I found my sound. So
I know you're Georgia through and through. You're a Bulldogs guy.
Oh, yeah.
But you've started dabbling into the hockey scene a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know they're completely different, but the atmosphere, how does a Preds atmosphere compare to the Dogs?
They're both insane. And Nashville wasn't always that way.
No.
But when we started kind of making it to the playoffs every now and then, my buddy Matt Duchesne played for him for a while, so it was a lot of fun for me to go watch, like a dear friend of mine go play hockey, but two completely different environments, but same passion. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But yeah, Preds games are a blast. Georgia games are a blast. I mean, I just love sporting environments, period.
Right.
I don't care if it's a baseball game, basketball game, whatever. I love watching people compete. And hockey has been a lot of fun for me over the last decade. So
right. You have 22 number one singles throughout your career now. When you're in a writing space, do you have a feeling when you're writing a song like this one's going to be a hit, or does some take you by surprise?
Yes and no. You know, I think this far in the game, I can probably kind of tell like what might work in this space.
Okay.
But with the landscape changing so much, it kind of is crapshoot today, and it's kind of like, I don't know, we'll see, But yeah, I mean, I've been doing this long enough to kind of know when something at least feels like a hit.
Right.
But I would say some of my favorite songs that have been hits have been a complete surprise.
Amazing.
Just kind of following my gut and just being like, I kind of land on the point where I don't care if someone doesn't like this. This is what I have to say right now. And when those songs become hits, it is very rewarding to your gut. To be like, okay, keep following that.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of hit. It's a little bit of both.
Okay. And you wrote your 20th number one single with Riley Green.
I did.
It was Half of Me, who we had the pleasure of interviewing him last year here. And
he's a nerd.
He's created my favorite question to ask people, because he did an underwear model campaign.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of asked him, we were like, what would younger you think about that? And he's like,
he'd probably beat me up and steal my lunch money.
so is there
right.
anything older you now that you know, you're a little more famous, you got a little more time, that you do, that younger you would be like, come on, man, what are we doing here?
I mean, I honestly think my older self would have beat my younger self up more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially some of the styles and phases I've gone through. Some haircuts I probably would change.
Okay.
Some jean choices I probably would have changed. I feel like I'm fully me at 34 years old.
Right.
Maybe it's because my brain is fully developed.
Yeah.
I don't really know. But yeah, I think my older self would definitely make fun of my younger self more than my younger self make fun of my older self.
Okay, and that's older and wiser. That's
Yeah,
just
right.
a little bit of backwards.
Crystallized intelligence.
I love
you know?
it. Thomas, I know you have an album coming out shortly, so feel free to take the floor and tell the people what's up next for you and where they can find you.
Yeah, got an album coming out August 23rd called About a Woman, and on tour this year. Make sure you come check us out.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.